Okay, so I'm going to talk about, you know, this whole thing of what I believe I'm going to see, what you're going to see on the retail journey over the next few years. I will structure it as what's the size of the market today, what are the changes that we are seeing right now, what changes can you expect in the longer term, and how does one prepare for it. Okay? So I'm not going to talk about 10 things, but fewer things than that. The first, if you look at the category mix of retail, food and grocery is still the largest segment. About 60% of the $550 billion retail industry is food and grocery. Others, which is an agglomeration of many things, is 11. After food and grocery is apparel. And that's why you find apparel on the top of the list in e-commerce as well as in every other venture. Apparel is pretty big. Then you have mobile and telecom. For sheer value, it's very, very big. Mobile and telecom. Then you have food service, which is 5. You have jewelry, which is 4%. You have consumer electronics, which is 3%. And pharmacy, or the whole OTC and everything to do with other stuff, is about 3. This is what it is. Everybody's waiting for this to get to the, $1,000 billion mark, $1 trillion. And everybody's been talking about the rise of the middle class, which will contribute to this. And we've been waiting for quite some time. I come from the FMCG sector, and I'll point you to the FMCG sector before I go elsewhere. If you look at the FMCG sector, the rural growth is higher than urban growth, and all the growth is coming from east and north. Out of a total of 261,000 crores of FMCG, urban accounts for 64%, rural is a third. Okay? But in growth terms, it's the exact opposite. Rural accounts for 2/3 of the growth of FMCG, and urban accounts for 1/3 of the growth. If you see the split by zones, north is the largest at 31%, east is 22, expectedly so, west is 22, and south is 25. Okay? And where is the growth coming? You can clearly see that the big one is rural, as I mentioned. India has the unique distinction, and that's the reason for forums like this, retail forum, etc. We have a very multi-layered distribution channel. For FMCG, we have 9.6 million retail outlets. 9.6 million retail outlets for FMCG. Total number of outlets in India would be about 15 to 16 million retail outlets. So for an economy of our size, which is 2 trillion, we have 15 million outlets. America, for an economy which is 17 trillion, has 1 million outlets. So we have lots and lots of outlets across the length and breadth of the country. Basically because getting into retail has required very little education, very little space, very little capital. So retail today is the second largest employment opportunity in this country. Okay. So this is how it's grown. In 2009, we had 8 million outlets. In 2015, we have close to 10 million outlets. Rural has nearly 6 million of those outlets. Out of the 10 million outlets, rural has 6 million. Okay? The top 8 metros actually do not have so much. They have 0.7, 700,000 outlets. Rural is a really big one, and that's what is the challenge to cover. Okay. One channel which is actually growing very fast is the Pan Plus channel. Pan Plus has 2.4 million outlets only. Why? As more and more cities are getting more and more congested, as urbanization is happening, and it will continue to happen as rural markets get classified or reclassified as urban. You're seeing the growth of what I call the mini supermarket. A pawn shop is nothing but a mini supermarket. He stocks everything which you need virtually in the morning or in the afternoon for a break. So the largest segment is now Pan Plus in terms of number of outlets. Grocers account for 72% by value. Chemists and pawn shops account for 9% by value. Covering pawn shops and serving pawn shops is going to be one of the challenges for marketeers in the future. Modern trade growth, clearly coming through. But one of the aspects of modern trade growth is we're seeing a lot more of private label coming through right now. Private label is the number 3 segment of modern trade right now in this country. And I think it will only grow as high-quality third-party manufacturing comes through. Private label growth is actually higher in refined edible oils, salty snacks, biscuits, ketchups, and liquid toilet soaps. So if you look at the category growths, the category growth is 3.2, okay? Private label is 12.6. In every single category that I've listed here, the private label growth is huge. It's significantly more than the traditional players. So this is something that you need to watch out for. So covering pan outlets, we need to rethink the go-to-market model. Private label, especially in modern trade, is the next big trend that you're going to see. So here's my submission to you over the next few slides. First, this sector will go through more change in the next 5 years than it has seen in the last 50 years. So if you're planning to be in the retail segment, if you're planning to be somebody who's a manager going to oversee the go-to-market situation in retail, fasten your seatbelts. This is going to be a hell of a change. It's going to be a hell of a ride over the next few years. We will see more change in the next 5 years than what we've seen in the last 50 years. If we don't brace ourselves for this change, the company is not going to be successful. That's my first submission to you. Second, the definition of a shop, of shopping, and of experience will undergo dramatic change. All three will go. So the shop is no longer the place where you visit. Shop can be something on your screen which you're working with. Okay? So you don't necessarily need to go to a shop. In the next 5 years, the shop will come to you. That's a big change for India, which I never thought like that. Today, shops will reach out to consumers as opposed to consumers going to shops. So shopping, experience, service, everything will change. The big changes, as I see them, are in 4 areas. They're with respect to the consumer. Number 1, all of life starts and ends with the consumer. It's about technology and what it will do. It will be about time and the importance of time and its dimension and the mix of channels. Okay? This is what I believe you'll see. Let's look at the consumer. We have 440 million millennials today in this country. 440 million millennials. People born after 1980 but before 2000. And we have another 330 million who born after 2000. Every third person in the world born after 2000 is an Indian. So India will be a very young country for the next 50 years. So as you reshape your business model, your product offering, you have to think of the millennials, you have to think of Gen Z. We will see nuclear families. A lot of people in this country think, from an old paradigm, that this country is full of joint families. Nothing could be farther from the truth. 63% of urban India today is nuclear family. 59% of rural India today is nuclear family. 60% of India is a nuclear family. There are more double income, no kids households in rural India than in urban India today, as I speak with you. So the paradigm of the marketer and the retailer has to change. Everybody who's living from the past and quoting things from the past has to change significantly. Okay? India has moved on. Have marketers and retailers moved on. And one of the things we notice is that a lot of consumers, especially millennials and these nuclear families, they shop little stuff, they shop more often. Why? For them, freshness is very important. They don't want to waste. So they don't buy tons of stuff at one go. They buy little stuff, and they're happy to go, or happy to receive, or happy to order every 3rd day or every 4th day. Okay? That's what we are seeing. Next, the millennials are extremely ecologically conscious. They want companies, they want brands to display that. When brands and companies display that, they say, this brand has a purpose, this brand cares for society, I'd like to buy from it, I'd like to tell my friends about it. They're far more ecologically conscious than any other generation before them. That's the consumer we are seeing. The millennials as consumers. Their friends are the source of authority, not brands, not advertising. They value brand trust. They're hugely value-seeking consumers. They want the right value irrespective of the price. They love the cause. If a brand espouses a cause, they like it. They have a new concept, sharing versus owning. They're happier taking Uber cars. They're happier taking a taxi rather than owning a car. That's the type of consumer you see. So you'll have a sharing versus owning concept as a serious fight in the next 10 years, especially in durables. So the sharing model is an interesting business model to come through if you're in that type of a business. Ecology I spoke about. Apps is the new news channel. Apps aggregated. They look for maximum convenience with respect to time. And for them, healthy doesn't mean not being sick. It's more than that. Okay? That's what we are seeing as the millennial consumer. And this is the consumer who's your shopper, who's your consumer, who's your buyer, and he's got many, many channels for him to talk about and to indulge with. Technology. The very access of technology, okay, is the most important element for these consumers. When they have technology by their side, it takes the fear away. Equally, when they adapt to a new technology, they're scared. For example, over the next 5 years, to get consumers to pay you digitally is going to be one of the biggest challenges. All the banking regulations, all the other stuff will fall in place. All the policies will fall in place. In the next 5 years, we will be a digital society in terms of payments. But consumer adoption will be challenged. In the initial stages, they'll be scared, will my money go through? Will I receive my money? Okay, how does the system work? Okay, while they're extremely comfortable with technology, they want to be absolutely sure that what they're saying is working. The rural boom will be with smartphones. Most of the conversation in rural India with smartphones is around social networking. So imagine if you're advertising or you're doing any offers, you have to keep that in mind. It's the social network which is going to influence the rural consumer, not anything else. And finally, the anywhere screen. I believe retail outlets will be flooded with screens in the future. Places where people congregate will be flooded with screens. All you have to do is go press it, order it, give your home address, it will be done. We will see more and more screens coming up in this country. In every single congregation place, you'll see screens coming up. Okay? And whoever does a great job of that will laugh all the way to the bank. Time. I think this generation of consumers are what I call time-starved consumers. They have a maximum of 3 to 5 minutes for anything. So if you're in the business of ready to eat, ready to cook, you have to do a great upma, a great idli, a great poha, a great khichdi in 5 minutes. That's it. It's not a laborious 10, 15-minute process. However, that 5-minute upma or the 5-minute khichdi must taste like his or her mother's khichdi. Otherwise, they won't buy it. Okay, so they balance the time with the taste factor. Okay, that's what they do. So lots of products are today attacking this consumer with time as the promise. So time will be a very big promise for this time-starved consumer coming up. E-retail is expected to reach 18 billion by 2018. So if you look at it right now, e-commerce, that's the kind of numbers you're seeing. Okay? And where is it happening? Electronics, clothing, footwear, items for home, toys, grocery is pretty low. Okay? Categories with known brands and pre-considered choice seem to have higher penetration. Like personal care is a good example. Okay? So this is going to virtually double. There's lots of expectation. Some people are saying it will be 100 billion by the year 2020. Okay? But I have a slide on that in terms of what I worry about. Online is sourcing more from modern trade than from traditional trade. Obvious. Why is that obvious? 60% of most categories in FMCG and in many categories are priced at the lower end of the price spectrum, 10 rupees and below. So it's unlikely that somebody who is in the business of online will attract consumers who are buying sachets. That won't happen. Okay? So e-commerce at this point of time is playing around a lot more with modern trade. However, I have a prediction to make. Every category where the retail penetration is low, hardware stores being one, paints being another, okay? Apparel in rural India being a third. Okay? So every category where number of, like furniture being one more, where the sheer population and density of that category has been low, e-commerce will swamp them. E-commerce will just take over. In the FMCG business, as I mentioned, we have 10 million outlets. E-commerce can't swap that. But in a furniture category, in an apparel category, where there are so few outlets, e-commerce will just ride over them, lock, stock, and barrel. So one way to look at it is, if you're in an industry which is under-penetrated in terms of retail, then e-commerce is actually your friend. It's not an enemy. Look at it as an ally with whom you can work and do significant business. I want us to think about a few things, okay? And specifically one thing, okay? Which is the whole concept of retail in India, and everybody will tell you, everybody who's come to the retail forum will tell you that they're here to create value, etc., etc. But if you look at the history of retail in India, it has destroyed more value than create value over the last 20 years. Okay? Numbers show you that, etc. Every category captain of retail will come and tell you, we want ecosystem partnership, we want everybody to be successful, etc. Absolutely not true. I think it's time for the retail industry, and it's time for the captains of the retail industry to take a good, hard look at their approach to the business and the business model. Okay? I think it's really true. And this is a slide. I was in Cochin yesterday, and I was working the market with my colleagues. This is a slide I want you to think about. This is a concept started in Kerala many moons ago. The margin-free specialty supermarket. Every business in retail which gives away margin will go down this route into oblivion. So the challenge I have for all the retail captains is, how do you ensure that the ecosystem is profitable? Don't destroy value. In the pursuit of whatever we call it, GMV, volume, this, that, whatever we call it, we've destroyed so much value for brands and the ecosystem. That's not going to help anybody. So if there's one point I want you to take out of my speech today, is that the retail industry needs a new paradigm of value creation. Current models of whatever we're doing is not working. It's not working for the retailer, not working for the brand, not maybe sometimes working for the consumer. So we need to rethink that. That's what I would say, okay? So this margin-free specialty super concept is not applicable, okay? Let's think of the ecosystem value we generate. So finally, in summary, I've got exactly 2 minutes to go. I would say the following. I think the consumer is changing dramatically in the country. Retail, which is all of 15 million retail outlets in this country, okay, is going through a fundamental change. Technology is aiding consumers. And I think technology will be both a boon as well as a bust for consumers. Today, if you go to the average pawn shop, he will have at least 100 to 250 SKUs. You go to a supermarket, you have 3,000 SKUs. You go to a hypermarket, you have 5,000 SKUs. You go to an online place, you have 10 million SKUs. So, at one level, technology simplifies. At another level, it confuses. So, I call this the distraction of attraction. That's what's happening in the e-commerce world. With online, there's so many things possible. Today, across the country, people are scared to enter a luxury outlet. They don't know what the luxury outlet holds for them. But in the confines of their bedroom or dining room, they can happily browse all the sites of Bali, Ferragamo, and you name it. Luxury brands have become far more, touch and feel and accessible today to consumers than ever before, thanks to technology. So, FMCG, 9.6 million retail outlets. I don't think the retail outlets will grow anymore. As online spreads, today, every week, 33% of Indians with smartphones are shopping online. 37% are shopping once a month. So hence, the growth of outlets, which was the phenomenon for the FMCG and other businesses, will no longer be the dominant assumption. I think that will taper off. I think technology will impact the number of outlets which are going to be opened and, of course, which will be closed. And in this whole thing, the key to success for retail is to be effective partners, is to be partners in the ecosystem. Destroying value does not help anybody. So I think effective partnerships, and think of partnerships as ecosystem partnerships which help rather than individual company partnerships or whatever we're doing. If we do that, I personally believe that retail will have a very different fork in the road for the next 5 years compared to the last 50 years. And the winners will be those people who adapt to this strategy. Somebody who thinks like this is going to be the winner over the next 5 years, according to me. So if the organizers call me back, this is my third speech. If they call me back in 5 years, I'm hoping that I'll be able to show a list of winners who followed what I preached today. So that's all I had to say, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really sorry that I came late, but thank you very much for your time, and all the very best.